I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.
Yo, what's up, guys? Another episode of Locked Up with Copville. I believe this is number 11. I didn't think I'd make it this far, but here I am. I love that intro every time I see it. I have a special guest, Joshua Lott, that worked for the Burleson, Texas Police Department. That just seems like you're just another cop, but we're going to get to why you're here and what happened to you. But first of all, you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, sure. My name is Joshua Lott. I've been a police officer for about 7.5 years now. Back in 2021, I was involved in an officer-involved shooting. So, you and I have been talking the last couple weeks or days or so to get together and come on here and try to share my experience and see if there's any way that we can, improve the outcomes out there for other officers.
Yes, and we were just talking before we started recording how I had never seen it, and I guess one of the things that nobody got killed. Thank God you didn't get killed. Bad guy, we don't really care about, but there's so many officer-involved shootings that if it's not anything wild or crazy, or there's not like today's world, if it's not newsworthy, it's just a regular old officer-involved shooting at this point, and it really doesn't make news. But
which is wild to think because it happens more often than we realize, and it just nobody even knows about it. So
yeah, I mean, you found me on my page. We talked, and bro, when you sent me the video, and I was blown away at how wild and yours, like every one of them's different, and I'm sure. And we're going to talk about that. That what goes through Monday morning quarterback that goes into it, and all this stress. What must happen to you But tell us about who you are, how you became a cop, where you work, where is Burleson, Texas, note your previous agency, but kind of give us a rundown of how we ended up to that day.
Okay. So I started, grew up in, back and forth from Fort Lauderdale to Fort Worth, separated parents. Generally speaking, I was raised here, grew up here in Fort Worth, South Fort Worth, Texas area.
Okay.
Married, got 3 kids. I've been a cop. Let's see, I started in fire back in 2004, and as a fireman, it just wasn't. There was an element of it that was missing, and when I got into law enforcement, that was the element that I was looking for. And so, I was 32 when I got into law enforcement, and so a little late in the game, but never too late for me. So I'm happy I made the switch. And I get shit for it all the time from my fire guys and stuff like that. But
they're firemen, man. We know what they're about.
Yeah, exactly. So there's plenty of things I can fire back at them about. But so that's how I made it here. My first agency is Burleson Police Department. I'm no longer working there. And like we've talked about before, I'm kind of hoping that we'll have an opportunity to go further into that a little bit too.
Yeah. That's a pretty interesting story as well, but we're gonna save that one.
Yes, sir. So, I'm just here to talk about this situation, and I've been teaching over the last about a year in an academy class, and this is one of the things that I use as material. And like you were saying, not to Monday morning quarterback, but definitely to break it down and go over some things that maybe could have been improved, just because, like every cop, we should all continue learning in this profession, and anybody that gets to the point where they think they know it all, then it's time to leave.
It's a weird dynamic. And I did 23 years, and I remember when you're a young cop, you are trying, you know how it is, dude. Your ego is just fragile.
Oh yeah.
You're trying to do everything right. And anytime you make the slightest mistake, it's like catastrophic to you. It should be. Like to good cops, you're like, fuck, I did it again, or I walked up to the car too fast, or I went on the wrong side, or I had something, my gun hit my flash. But it is something that in the older days, like when we first had VHS tapes and body cams, or no body cams, VHS tapes and car cameras. I'm that old. that it was like used more in that area. Then it became like a disciplinary thing where now let's look at all the stuff you did wrong and let's write you up for it. But at the core, it is good to go over these incidents. Now Instagram's become just a fucking shit show, honestly, because now every video goes out, and I'm guilty of it too. I make memes out of some of the girl shooting the mirror and stuff. But
it's hard not to with that one though. Come on.
It is. And I feel bad, but it almost is like we can't bully anymore. And I came from the bullying era of law enforcement in 2000. So I guess the alternate to bullying, and I always say this to people, is don't end up on Instagram looking like a fucking clown. Like that's your goal should be to go to work and do a good job, know case law, know the Constitution, be a good person, but do not end up on Copville or one of these sites as doing something crazy, because I mean, it's going to get out now, and it's just a different time.
That's what's so crazy about this profession is when you were in, that's not even a thing that you were even considering, and cops today, I mean, to be honest with you, the way I operate, it's not something that's on the forefront of my mind, because I am confident and comfortable with how I operate, and that way is not going to get me on Instagram or anything like that in any negative way. So, but it's definitely one of those things that cops coming into this profession, that it's just going to continue on, and who knows what the next step is, but you're not just looking behind you or checking your shoulder and looking who's trying to hem you up on something from the outside. It's from the inside. It's the public. It's literally everybody. It's no longer just the suspects or something like that.
I mean, it's grown so much. I remember when I was in the academy. What year did you go?
2017.
Okay, so I go back to, there were you guys probably even watched these. There were 2 or 3 there was very little officers involved shooting videos because car cams had just become a thing. There was a guy named Coates. I think Trooper Coates was in Ridgeland, South Carolina, around the interstate, and the guy, it's a marijuana stop, and I remember distinctly because that was the only videos they had in the academy. He caught a round right in his shoulder, went right in and killed him. He shot the guy a couple of times, big fat guy. And every time I went on 95, there's a memorial. And then there was that kid. I'm sure everybody's seen that kid in Georgia where the guy, a vet, had the rifle and he was up there doing and he just waited and waited and waited. And the guy got the rifle out, loaded it, racked it, pointed it. And
the one that he advanced on the officer.
Yeah. You remember the guys were, it's that pickup. He's in he's in a Ford Ranger or something.
Yes.
And it's just those were the only officer involved shootings. I remember those 2 distinctly because that was all we had to draw from way back when I was in the academy, was these few things. And now Instagram and Axon body cam, and now there's camera on every corner in every city and everywhere now that these are all captured. So the importance of it is where I'm going with that is like you said, there's no Monday morning quarterback, but you got fucking shot, dude, and you're lucky to be alive. So it's if you I look at it and I look at it you deserve to be able to tell your story, and then you also have, I think as a cop, you have a little obligation to go, hey, I fucked this up, or I didn't fuck that up, or I would have done this different, I would have done that different, and let's learn from it.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think it's great you coming on, and I think it's great you're willing to talk about it, because I'm sure I've never shot anybody or been shot at, so I made it, but it's got to be something that it doesn't go away. I can imagine.
No, it's definitely tough. Not just for myself, but in situations like that, you don't see it on the body cam and the dash cam outside of that footage because nobody's privy to it, but it affects the family of that officer.
I'm sure, man,
incredibly. And so
I can only imagine. How at the time it happened, where were you as far as married and kids? How many did you have then?
So I still had 3, married with 3 kids. They were just all 4 years younger. So my son.
How did your wife find out?
So it's actually a pretty good segue. So I'll tell you how she was notified, and then we can go into it if you want.
Perfect.
So
by the way,
I got into the patrol vehicle, and it'll make sense a little bit later, in the passenger seat, and My buddy Joe, he was right next to me. He's my best friend, worked the same agency, and he had already called my wife, FaceTime my wife, or no, called my wife on speaker. So she was on speaker. So I'm holding the phone, and next thing I know, I see my face pop up like it's FaceTime, and I'm like, oh shit, I look like shit. I see blood on my face. I'm like looking like, I don't know, just absolute shit, right? And so I'm realizing it's FaceTiming, and so she picks up, and I said, hey, I was like, hey babe, this is the worst phone call you're ever gonna get. And she's like, what happened? I said, I got shot. And then that was how I notified her. Like, well, it was the most informal way ever.
That might not be the worst, honestly, the way it played out, because the worst would have been some other dude calling hey, your husband's been shot. I think the fact that she was actually obviously terrible situation, but that honestly, her looking at your face and the words coming out of your mouth probably helped her. Can you imagine if it was a captain or the old knock on the door and hey, we got to, that 3 seconds before she knew if you were okay would have been like the drop on a roller coaster. I'm sure she never forgets it anyway, but
we talked about it.
A decent, I'm glad. That's actually really cool that you got to tell her. And
exactly. Neither one of us, would change how she was notified, because the standard way of notifying is like you're talking about, and some administrator after the fact, knocking on the door, and it's kind of.
I never thought about that side of the job. I never thought about it, and I did 23. My wife is still a cop, and I didn't start worrying about that until I jokingly became a police wife. And now I'm sitting here, and she works a night shift and patrol sergeant, and I never worried about it when we were both sworn. I was like, I'm working, I'm a cop too. Yeah. Now that I'm a civilian and I'm not a cop, it's the first time in my life I've experienced that. Like, if she doesn't answer a text or she doesn't answer the phone when I call, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah,
and I'm worried. And
real dude.
I stress, and she's super, she's well trained, great firearms, great tactics, but it can happen to anybody. So I definitely have a different feeling of she's not answering the phone, or it's been a while since she called me. Is she okay?
And the benefit that you have too. Well, I guess in this, it's not so much of a benefit, but like intimately what it's like out there. The risks. You've done it, so it's not like a regular police wife that has just maybe gone on a couple of ride-alongs or whatever. It's like the risk is just as high any day of the week as it is any other time. So. And
I have comfort. One of my best friends, he's on my show. I think he was my episode 3 or 4. Chris Lester is her lieutenant, so real good guy, and I know he's out there paying attention, cool. and he's good. So I don't know anybody else on the shift really that works for her. I know the other sergeant, good dude, and then the lieutenant Lester is one of my best. He actually got shot. He was on my show. He got shot in the line of duty as well. So I that gives me a little, like, I know Lester. No, I'd be really mad at him if he lets anything happen to her. So
right.
he was actually the one that called me and asked those questions right before we started.
Oh, okay, got you.
So, all right. So what is your what do you guys call it when you didn't get killed? There's a date, right? It's called your.
I think I call it my unalive anniversary.
Okay, I knew there was a name, and I as a police wife, I guess I should.
Or no, I guess it wouldn't be unalive. It would be my alive anniversary.
Your alive anniversary. And what was the date?
4/14 of 21. So April 14th. Yeah, April 14th, 2021.
I just got moved back to detective, and she had just got promoted to sergeant. She was training sergeant. I was a detective in general crimes, living the dream. And you're over there in Texas dealing with this. So I have everything queued up. You tell me how you want to tell your story. Are you looking to boost your energy, focus, and overall well-being? Emerald Medical's hormone replacement therapy program is designed for people who want real results. Their expert team personalizes your treatment to optimize performance and restore balance, whether you're battling fatigue or you just want to feel like yourself again. Prices start at just $160 a month, and podcast listeners get 5% off with code COPVILLE. Veterans and first responders also receive exclusive discounts. Visit emeraldhrt.com to get started.
We can let's do you want to, we can go through it, and you want to break it down? Can you pause in the middle of it?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to start with the body cam or the car cam?
Let's do the dash cam, and then we can run through it and break it down. And that way And then
Right.
we can also go through the whole thing just so we can.
4:05 a.m. and I'm assuming the car that just went by is going to be your traffic stop.
That's my suspect vehicle. Yes.
So
Occupied 3 times.
Do you want to lay out what the reason stop for?
Yeah. So this I had parked in a residential neighborhood. I'd been on patrol, so every once in a while, when things are quiet like this, I will stop and just kind of listen and let things move around and kind of reset. And for other officers out there, that makes sense to them. So, I hear this noise, and it sounds like a vehicle that's coming closer to me with missing a catalytic converter.
Okay.
We had a big catalytic converter theft issue going on up in North Texas around this time. So it got my attention, and I waited for it. It crossed my path.
Okay.
I saw 2 adult males. Yeah, 1 adult female. None of them looked at me. They were just looking forward. They didn't want to make eye contact, and so that was my suspicion that they were up to no
that's
good.
PC, the probable cause there in Texas for no catalytic converter.
No, that's my reasonable suspicion, which we can make a stop for the reasonable suspicion. My PC for the stop is defective brake light and driver's side.
Okay.
So as he passed me, I saw the defective brake light. I pulled out, and then I lit him up right there. So he stops at the stop sign. And at this point, you can't see in the video, but he's looking for me in his the driver's side rear view mirror.
So he's looking out the window.
Yeah, and as you can see in the back of the trunk area, it's all loaded up with just
like a microwave or some type of garbage.
It's like a clothes basket and clothes and all kinds of junk and stuff like that.
What I notice here, as I've worked a few cases, that his foot's still on the brake and he doesn't have the car in park, or
correct.
He may, but his foot's on the brake right now. That's what I'm noticing.
Yeah. Yep. And so, he's looking for me through the passenger side, or I'm sorry, the driver's side rearview mirror, and he's putting his head out looking for me. He's trying to find me.
You probably got out and you're probably assessing from the back right now where you're going to do.
So I had to enter it all in manually because I'd lost my voice this night. So it takes a little bit extra time because I didn't do it over the radio. So I'm not quite out yet. I run it real quick, see if it comes back stolen or anything like that. Everything's good. And so you can see his brake light went off at that point.
Okay.
So I make a passenger side approach. So I walk back behind my vehicle.
Okay. If you want to set it up from there, I'll pause it when I start to see you.
Yeah. And so I walk back behind my vehicle. I had just recently started doing that about 3 weeks prior.
Okay. So here you come.
So I'm going to come up here and approach on the passenger side.
You're right-handed?
Correct.
Okay.
My light's in my left hand.
Right. So you tell me when you want me to let it just roll. You want me to let it roll?
We'll just let it roll here. Okay. And then you could. I mean, it's obvious what happened. So.
Yep. So, and we'll see it on the other part. You stopped kind of in the back. You stopped at the passenger window rear window first.
Correct. The C-pillar.
Then you took that half step forward to the full. Now you're by the pillar in front of the window. Okay.
Correct.
Roll. Boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Okay. And that's
so then I roll back behind, and the rest can be seen on my body cam.
Yep. Takes off. Remove from stage. So now we're going to roll into the body cam. And here we go. We'll have some sound here. So this is you. All right, so you're at the back of your car. You just finished doing it. You got out. You're going to do your passenger side approach.
Correct.
All right.
Hear that? That on
there. So you have a rear passenger, a front passenger, and a driver.
Yep. And so from this position, I can see the driver, and he's actively trying to find me, back and forth, sticking his head out the window, looking back, and then also looking in his rearview mirror. And he's getting more antsy as every second that goes by, because obviously he knows what's about to go down. But I look at that as a red flag. I just don't know what it's a red flag to at this point. So
yeah, I mean, it's drugs. Who knows? I mean,
right? Yeah, warrants or whatever.
Yeah,
so
all right, here we go. Holy fuck! Holy fucking shit! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots. I'm gonna go back and play that one more time. Look how fast this happens.
Yep.
1, 2, 2 seconds after you knocked on the window, under 2 seconds, you're taking rounds.
Yeah, so the from the moment that he shot the first round to when he finally shot the third one, it was 0.66 seconds. He shot me 3 times in 0.66 seconds.
3 times, 0.66 seconds, under
And
2
that was
seconds from you knocked on the door.
That was a revolver, so double action every shot, and it was a 38 special. So
yeah, the old felony gun, man, the old murder weapon.
yeah. So
No,
at the end of that video, no,
yeah,
exactly.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, the revolver.
That's why he's carrying it, because it doesn't leave any
Yeah.
evidence. Do you want me to play the rest of the video? Do you want me to go back?
I was just going to point out there that I did have an opportunity to return fire at the vehicle.
But you have
And actually, you know what? Go ahead and play it, because there is something I want to hit on.
All right.
Oh, fuck! Holy fuck! Holy fucking shit! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired, guys!
Was that a shot?
Yeah.
Okay, so you fired 1 round.
Correct.
Okay.
So I just want to touch on that real quick. One of the things that I was caught up with, to the extent that it affected how I responded in that situation using deadly force, was the dynamic between myself and my supervisor was not good. And so I was trying to do everything proper and not give anybody any reason to, hem me up on some, ridiculous IA or anything like that.
So guys will say, let me just stop you right there. You can finish.
Yeah.
Guys will say that's not, how do I want to say this? People will tell you you should never worry about that, and I'm sure people have said that to you. And I'm not here to judge anybody, but at the same time that you should never worry, we are still human beings, and that type of relationship, that type of administration, that type of atmosphere, it has to play into your mind. And again, I was never in that critical of an incident. I've come close a few times, but never. But I know after I got hammered in my IA at the end of my career, I went on some calls, and I definitely thought differently walking around my rifle out on one call, where I was like, man, I don't trust this fucking place anymore.
Yeah.
So so at the bottom of the court, people are going to say, fuck that. You should never, and I get it. You should never worry about deadly force. You have to do what you got to do. As a cop, you should be prepared. But as a human being,
yeah. And so
that is going through your head as you got shot.
Yeah. So it's just like the whole situation where, people say things like, when you're dealing with this stressful situation, you got to think about what the jury is going to say. No, you don't. No, I'm sorry. It's in comparison. That's a good comparison. Now, I disagree with both statements. I don't think that while you're actively on scene, you should be thinking about what the jury might be, feeling at the time when everything's presented in a completely different setting. I think that you should know your job, know how to do it, and continue training and try to improve your entire career. And along with that, I don't agree with what I did here. The reason why I mention this is because I raise my pistol up and then I lower it. And then I go in my mic and I say, shots fired, shots fired. And I did that for this. I can't explain why I did it, other than the fact that I'm trying to not get in trouble by my supervisor. And I'm so, not focused, but that's so prevalent in my mind that in this stressful situation, rather than going and using deadly force as soon as possible, something made me stop and say, well, even though it doesn't even make sense, but to go ahead and say shots fired before I fire. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. But that's the way that I was thinking at the time.
And some of it, we'll talk about, obviously, we're going to talk about all your injuries and where you were shot. But me knowing that already, I think some of that plays into where you got hit and how you got hit, because I get we're supposed to just stop, drop, and roll and start, get back in. You're getting fucking shot, dude. So, I mean, I don't ever Monday morning quarterback the reaction that a person has, because until you're shot, I guarantee you have no idea how you're going to react. Just like getting punched in the face. That's why I have a problem with all these young kids that have never been punched in the face that are cops, because you don't know how they're going to react the first time somebody punches them. Are they going to run? Are they going to do it? So I get, like, everybody's going to look at this, the pump 5 rounds right back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
In Call of Duty, and we all would have done that. We all would have
Sure.
done that, but
Exactly.
you're not
Until it
thinking-
happens, and then you don't, and then you're like, well, hey, what's up? What happened?
Yeah,
You're pumping 5 rounds.
I like the way you explain it because you know that's the right answer, but that's just not how the cards fall.
Yeah, that's just not.
Situation.
Man, I can't even tell you how much I wish that instead of rolling back to the my patrol unit and finding cover there, I wish that I would have just had the presence of mind to just shift over behind the B pillar and get them through the passenger side rear or whatever. Yeah. I wish I could have just engaged right then and there. But guess what? As much as I wanted to, like you said, it wasn't. That's just not how it went down.
The other thing going totally, I mean, that's the perfect storm for you is for the bad guy too. You have 2 innocent people per se between you and the bad guy. You take 5 steps back to get your cover. You have a passenger and a rear passenger that you've got to clear, and now you're into a fucking shitstorm when they start taking bullets from you because now you're reckless. You're this. You're that.
Well, so that was one aspect about this shooting that I was actually it blew my mind is right before I pressed that trigger, I had this clarity where I went through case law in my head, and I knew that in this situation, suspect vehicle using deadly force, driving away from me, even if there were passengers in the vehicle and I struck them, because that shooter created the deadly force situation and I was responding and it's justified, I likely would have been okay with about that. But
and I agree.
I'm just glad that didn't happen.
The devil's advocate of that is going to be some liberal fuck.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right.
Who is absolutely going to say, well, when he didn't shoot right away, that he was done. That was his opportunity. Now he waited, and then he brought it back up. I mean, they're going to spin that a million ways, and they're going to say there was a new incident or some fucking wild. Reckless.
Yeah.
So, I can honestly think most people hit like you were. I think going to the back of your vehicle is probably the popular answer because, if they missed you or if it grazed you, I mean, then that's different. But dude, you got fucking smoked.
For sure.
Your body and your mind are going to make you get to a place where you're comfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to. And you don't know how your body and your mind are going to work together in those high stress moments, that high of stress, because we've never been there yet, And that's why, that's why nobody can ever really say they know how they're going to. They can talk about how they would like to all day long, but it's just different. And so, and I don't disagree with you. I think that, it was probably a good idea for me to. When I didn't see the gun when he pulled it. All I saw was muzzle flash. Yeah, and I saw through like a straw, I could see his grimace face as he took it from like his waistband area and he punched it out like that. He was like looking at me with like grimace face, boom, boom, boom. And I saw the muzzle flash and I knew I was getting shot. As I was getting shot, I knew it. But I couldn't tell what kind of gun it was. I couldn't tell how many rounds he had or any of that bullshit,
There's no way. So, and a lot of the critique, I think, goes into, and I will say this, most of your critique goes into the cops that aren't shot. It's the entry calls where there's a shooting and they don't get shot. When you get shot, I think most of that stuff's out the window. Like I said, your body goes into survival mode and it's just a natural reaction. Yeah. That's why I have a lot of problems with some of them use of forces, like that Memphis case where they beat the brakes off that dude and they're trying to say he's still resisting. I'm like, that dude's trying to survive. He's getting his ass whooped. Like at some point, and in that case of a shooting, it's like, I don't think you can really quarterback too much when a guy takes rounds. You can quarterback you up to the window and say, "Oh, I would have done you slow down." Whatever you want to say. But once you start taking rounds, fuck that. Until you've been shot, then we'll get them pulling people in here to talk about it. But so
everybody else can pretty much.
I think running to the back of your car, knowing that he's in the driver's seat and you got to get away, I think that's fucking. I can't imagine I would have done much different.
The hardest thing about this was the fact that that he drove off. Because I felt like it really made me feel like he stripped me of my fight, right? And so I wanted him to be there when I rolled around the back of my unit. I knew he'd already took off because I heard the engine, but still for some reason when I got there and he wasn't standing outside of his driver's seat or whatever, and I could
That's what we usually see too. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like when the guy sucker punches you and then he runs away and you're like,
Right. That's what it's exactly what this was on the most extreme level.
Where's my fucking chance, man? Like
Exactly.
I'm
That's
ready
exactly right.
now. So
Yeah.
all right, so I'm gonna pull up. I got it might take me a little to go through each picture, but I'm gonna just go in the order I have them.
Yeah, that's fine. So that was the second shot. The first one was center chest in between my body cam and my mic, and that hit my vest.
The first one hit your vest.
This is the second shot.
Wear your vest, people.
Yes.
Everybody in South Florida, Miami Police Department, Miami Beach Police Department, everybody in South Florida does not wear their fucking bulletproof vest. Yep. The dude I'm talking to would be dead.
Dead, 100%.
Didn't have his vest on. So round one hit you right about somewhere in here.
Right where that lead is in the center of my chest. That's exactly where that round hit.
And
it would have killed me.
Okay, so you're dead right there. This is the second round. Okay.
Yeah, second round. This one came from the side view, or from the side laterally, and just missed my vest right above it, and went inward this way.
I'm gonna go to the next one.
And that one's still in my chest. That one's up against my third rib, and they said it was more risky to go in and remove it than it would be just leave it.
This one blows my mind. So tell me about that.
So this one, entrance is on the right hand side, exit is on the left. And
so when you turn to run back to the fucking car, that bullet goes right across the back of your fucking skull.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I looked at him. I assume that. Hearing that now is unbelievable. As
I turn and I'm lifting my right arm because I know I got shot in the chest, and just that moment, time slows down a lot of bit, but for me anyway, it felt like I had a little bit of time to check to see if I could still use my right arm because I got shot in the chest. And it was at that moment when I was checking my arm that I felt the one in my neck. The thing is I thought I got hit directly in the neck because it was the pain is like a dull burn.
So my buddy got shot in the ankle, and when he took off running, he said he had extreme pain in his back because of the way the nerves are and all that they go up. He thought his back was broken. He had no idea that he didn't know where he was shot. So I can understand where, and that's it's like getting a tattoo. Like you start getting close to a certain area.
Right, exactly. So I'm thinking I grabbed the back of my neck and or with this hand, and I'm applying pressure. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I got shot in the head or in the neck, and so I check my face for exit wounds. And I don't feel anything. I look at my hand, no blood. Yeah, there you can see the depth of it. It's
this is the entrance. This is the right side of your head.
That's the entrance, yeah. And all the other little specks that people don't really. This is something that was kind of odd. Like I never really thought of all those little bloody specks. That's the window. We don't. That's one of those things that just it's there, but we don't really remember to include that.
And if you're looking at it, it's going in your eyes and shit.
Yeah, so it missed my eye barely, just got on one of my eyelids. But I was spitting glass out after I shot, returned fire. I was spitting. I'm like, what is it? Oh, it's glass in my mouth. Just like factors that you don't really take into consideration, like in a training setting. You know what I mean? But these are things that you're going.
Nobody tells you to think about glass in your
exactly
X-ray.
Yeah.
This is the last. What do we? This is the bullet.
Yeah. So on the left, if you're looking at on the left of the screen, you can see the round. It's a ball. It's a target round. Yeah. Right. Resting just outside of my third rib, and that's where it remains. I didn't get a broken rib or anything like that. I don't know why it didn't fracture my rib, continue through my lung. I mean, I can't explain that to you. And the one on the neck literally went just underneath my brainstem and above my first vertebrae. Like there was no room for anything else.
I was sitting. So my wife and I have like a routine every day, whether she's working or not. She goes, I have a computer in the kitchen. This is my studio. I have a computer in the kitchen, and I have a laptop. I have two laptops. I have that one, and I do like my business page and my all my stuff in the morning and my sales. And she sits there and you sent me those. I was sitting in that position when you sent me those pictures, and I was looking at her. She's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I saw the neck one, and I'm like, this fucking dude shouldn't even be talking to me. Like I had no idea the first one hit you in the chest. Yeah. But when I saw the one in the neck, I'm thinking, what are the fucking odds of that? Like, It's harder to get shot that way than it is to just get your head blown off. Like literally, that's more difficult to have it pass through the back of your neck and not hit your spine, not hit your spine, not paralyze you, not rupture.
I had full range of motion. Believe it or not, I never had any debilitating, result from that shot. I mean, it was a little bit swollen, but I didn't have to do therapy. They literally so all those wounds and no surgery, no stitches. Yeah, they rinsed it out with some sterile water, which felt really weird, and it was painful. But I mean, other than that, they packed it and they sent me home the next day.
So you spent one night in the hospital, and what was the factoring decision to not do surgery on the one in your chest, just to where it landed and the way it was sitting?
Yeah, there's a vessel that goes right above here, and so if they go in, that's one thing that they take into consideration and say, and just going in with that vessel being there is the risk. And so rather than just leaving it there, it doesn't bother me. I don't feel it anymore. So yeah.
Crazy. So with all that pain, did you feel the one here? Not at the time, but after the fact when you were in the hospital?
No.
So the vest stopped it, didn't leave a mark, didn't I mean.
No, it's vest did its job. I'm not
357. What was it?
There's a 38 special.
Okay. Yeah. Cheap rounds, good rounds. What were they? Do you remember?
I don't remember. It was target rounds though. Obviously
it was ball ammo.
Yeah. Okay. So it was ball ammo but I mean, I read up on the ammo and it says anywhere from 900 to 1200 feet per second. And this was at point blank range. And yeah, I don't know. The vest did its job. I was wearing a Safariland vest. So, I mean.
And can you imagine there's guys that don't wear a fucking vest?
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
I
wear my vest on off duties.
Well, I mean, there's.
Because, what I mean by that. There's so many guys on off duties. They think, because it's off duty, I'm not going to wear my vest. No. Wear your vest every time you put your uniform on.
Look at some of the videos I post from down in Miami when I catch them. It's horrendous, and none of them wear their vest at off duty. And they're like Miami Beach. Yeah. Every single bar, I'm pretty sure, one of those places, every single bar requires an off duty deputy. So that means all the alcohol establishments with all that nonsense going on.
Yeah.
Require, and none of them. You go down to Miami, Target has off duty, Publix has off duty. I went to this golfing place where it's like a 3-story, like indoor putt place. Like a putt. It's inside. It's really cool. Yeah. The ball has like a chip in it. They know everything you do. 2 dudes, big SWAT guys. Fucking nobody's wearing their vest. There was a fight the other day. We posted BJJ Cops and I did a breakdown of Miami Police Department. Them 2 chicks fighting. The sergeant has no vest. She's at an off-duty gig, working a fucking door of a highly place that's shoplifting happens all the time. Yeah. That's why they're there. No vest. So it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
You know what they always say? You know what the argument always is? Well, I'll shoot quicker. I'll shoot fit. Well, yeah. Okay. Go ahead, SWAT guy. No. Go ahead. You shoot quicker than that guy just did.
Yeah. Trust me. When it goes down, like it did for me, I wish I could say that, shooting was the first thing on my mind, but the first thing on my mind was I'm getting shot. I need to get off the X and into find cover so I can stop getting shot. That was my number one concern.
That's great you did that, because most people fall down, try to run backwards, all that stuff. You turned and took off on a dead sprint.
What's crazy is I don't know if you caught it, but there's a curb that I step over with no I was just dialed in, man. It's something that I told myself in the academy, all the instructors tell you this, and I felt like they repeat this for a reason. Don't get complacent, don't get complacent, don't get complacent. Now I know why they say that, because if you take that advice seriously and throughout your career, remind yourself not to do that, then you can come out on top like I did on this situation. At least you have a better chance to,
Can I play devil's advocate? Or can I play Monday quarterback real quick?
For sure.
My wife is huge about this, and I don't know if I'm sure you talked about it. If you do it over, you have people roll their windows down now and not walk up to the window like that.
Oh yeah, let's do that. I want to talk about that.
My wife will have everybody, and I saw her do it for the very first time, and people think she's nuts. She screams, she's loud as shit the way she yells at me too. She will have every single person roll their windows down, hands out the window. Now, if it's grandma and all that, but it's
right.
situational. But
Yeah, for sure.
Hands out the window, everybody's window, and people go, well, that's kind of extreme.
No,
you think it's extreme?
Yeah.
You think it's
right.
you wish you
Nope.
so
that's not extreme.
did you change your procedure?
Yes, there was two things that I changed about it. Mind you, that vehicle didn't have tinted windows. Could you imagine if it did?
Yeah, it was simple. You could see right through it. But
so imagine if those were tinted, just slightly, you know? So yeah, one thing is all windows go down, right? I get to the C-pillar and still doing passenger side approaches. I believe that the passenger side approach saved my life if I was on the driver's side because he was looking for me. All he needed to do was either roll his window down or crack his door and fire off right there, and he'd have walked up me, and they would have been done. They'd, all in my face and neck and whatever. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. So the windows go down. The next thing is from the C-pillar, when the windows, because a lot of times I'll walk up C-pillar, they'll have the passenger window down or the driver window down, right? They don't even know I'm on the passenger side yet. If I can see into the vehicle a little bit while they don't know about my position, then I may, depending on the situation, right? Daytime, nighttime, how much light, tinted windows, all that stuff. But generally speaking, window comes down the passenger side, and I yell to them, roll down your back windows. At that point, I take a step back behind the C-pillar just because I don't want something coming out in my face. And as that's going, I prepare myself for whatever's going to be behind those windows. Because in Texas, you can have the rear windows completely tinted all the way, and so that's what we face sometimes. From there, I like to get a visual of the driver from that position, C-pillar, right? And then I give commands. If I cannot see his hands, I give commands from that position, hands on the steering wheel. Front passenger, hands up on the dashboard. Backseat passenger, if I can't see his hands at that point, which I usually have a better visual of that person just because of my position. But if I can't, for whatever reason, if they have in their pocket or a hoodie or something like that, it's hands up on the headrest in front of them. And obviously keeping an eye out on that headrest and make sure there's no weapons right there on the headrest too,
And that's where, we learn things and we always say, well, why did you do that? And you have an opportunity to see something. This is the opportunity for anybody that watches this.
Yeah.
To have a justified reason.
Yep.
To tell people to do that. And people will not enjoy it. They'll argue it. You're not there to make friends, and you have to be professional. I get it. But this is the example to everybody that there is no routine traffic stop.
No.
And even when you're squared away, which you looked very squared away, you handled yourself very well, your passenger side approach, it doesn't matter. When when God puts that challenge in front of you like he did to you, that's your day. And now, having seen that, anybody who watches this that has an agency that will buck them about yelling to people to roll, you're not yelling at them, you're not being mean to them. Put the fucking windows down and be able to see. Because if you were standing at that back pillar and he's got to look all the way back there at you, that's going to be a different gunfight, if there even is one. And then who knows? Who knows? But that is the reason why.
The commands with the hand on the steering wheel. He's going to have to leave his gun on his lap somewhere, which is going to give you time. As long as he leaves those hands on the steering wheel, when you go from the C pillar to the B pillar, right? He's going to have to take his hand off the steering wheel at some point. At that point, because you've already given commands, you should be it's always going to be reactive, right? But you should be able to be in a better tactically advantageous position having that situation in front of you rather than the one that I was in. You know what I'm saying?
And then you get guys like, and here's where I go off the rails, because you get like and I'm trying to be nice. You get traffic guys, and it was 4:00 in the morning. Nobody is doing radar traffic at 4:00 in the morning. I get it, but that can that same scenario could happen at 4:00 in the afternoon.
Sure.
You get traffic guys that like storm up the cars because their guy was going 20 over, and I had a trooper pull me over one time. I was going to a class in West Palm Beach, and I was speeding. I was doing like 93 and a 70 in my work truck. He had no idea who I was, illegal tint, undercover F-150. He walked up to my window with the laser in his hand, in his gun hand, waving it at me.
Oh my God.
Look at this, 93. And I'm looking at him, and I'm in full uniform, tack vest and everything. And he eventually like yelled at me and just walked away. But I'm thinking, this fucking moron just walked up to the car, no idea who I am, on the interstate, an hour from Miami, middle of West Palm. I could be anybody. yelling at me because I'm speeding with the fucking laser in his hand.
Yeah.
So when
and he's the one that would argue, oh, whatever, he's the one that would argue with us about this, the safety aspect of it and the complacency and all that stuff. Like the chances of that happening are bullshit. Because it's gonna happen.
If there's a 1 in a billion, you should be ready for it. Because what do we do all day? What do we do the most training on? Firearms. Other than the chances, again, you won the lottery, but the chances of us using our gun in the line of duty are very low.
Mm-hmm.
But we prepare for that as if it's kind of like the stop, drop, and roll. We prepare for that as if it's gonna happen every day. I thought I was gonna be stop, dropping, and rolling my whole life when I was a kid because that's all we practiced. But so that is what we train for. All of our training is CQB, VCQB, firearms, reaction, draw strokes. It should be. And most people probably don't know those terms. Some cops aren't going to know the terms I'm using.
You're right, and that's the sad part is unless you go out on your own.
I'm not telling them. I'm just going to let them figure it out. I have to Google it.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's what we are. That's what we should be ready for. Is what happened right there. And there aren't many cops. Oh, I hate saying that because people get mad at me. There are a lot of cops that's mind has never gone there. And I'll tell you right now, every motherfucker on TikTok, their mind ain't going there.
No,
they skip over that one. They don't want to watch that one. Did you see the one I posted today? And today won't be the day we air this, but the Afghan refugee up in Fairfax. Holy shit! But what? You know what?
Can you put it on here?
I can, if you want to just fill in the conversation with whatever.
Yeah, so I'll just talk about this real quick. So I'm also an instructor, TCOL instructor, and when I teach the academy, one of the things that I tell them is use this as we oftentimes will articulate things based on my training and experience, right? So this is not their experience, but use this as their training. If you need a reason, to articulate why the windows need to come down, why you're doing this, why you're doing that, or whatever, although this is not your experience, it's mine, but use this as a training aspect. You learn from this and don't, just toss it to the wayside thinking like the chances of you having to deal with a situation similar to this or even if you might be involved in an officer-involved shooting, the circumstances being exactly the same are, slim to not, whatever. You can make excuses all day long. The reality is it probably won't be the same. But if you operate in the way that after seeing this video and hearing us talk about it, the things that I do, things that I changed after the fact, rolling the windows down, making sure that you see the hands. That's not a new thing either. Seeing the hands.
It's not, but people get all bent up about it. Like I'm telling you, people get upset about it, and they get like, "Oh, you're being aggressive. You're being too much." All I would tell you now is Google this episode or Google your fucking body cam and show it to your commander and be like, "Hey, bro, this is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing." All right, watch this one. This one isn't. I gotta pull it up here. This is in, I want to say Fairfax.
And I'm dying every fucking single day, and I have 4 children, and we wholly survive because you're a fucking racist people. Okay. Yeah, because I can't get a job, I can't get a disability, and they took my fucking license because I'm not.
So he's wearing a gun belt with a gun, and the cop knows he has a gun.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to.
He's an Afghan refugee. Gun hand on the radio.
Yeah, no doubt.
Don't reach for anything, dude. Don't unbuckle that. I'm telling you, don't reach.
He's telling
why is this guy?
Yeah, why is he not standing there with a gun to his fucking forehead?
Right, or or
back at the car, felony stop.
Yeah, there's so many different things about this. His position.
Look at
if he does,
gun hand on the radio.
Switch his hands. Yeah.
Yep.
He's not ready at all. And that's the thing is he's not even thinking about it right now.
Once the other guy pulls up.
How about the fact he's still in the roadway too?
Yeah. Driver's side, roadway. He's getting screamed at.
I'm not lying. No,
He sets up his camera, which ends up being the best view of this whole fucking thing. It's almost like he knows he's going to shoot him. Like he sets the camera up.
Yeah.
You brought me to this country.
So the fact that he's got a gun on him, his hand should be on that steering wheel and white
They're
knuckling
not.
that.
This
thing,
dude, the dude driving is control. He's in charge.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The driver's in charge.
So you don't have a registration to the vehicle?
That is.
You know what? Listen, you're American, okay? Yes. Yes, you are American. I give you my fucking, what do you call that shit? Ticket. They took my driving license. Okay? They took it away? Yeah, for no.
Can you imagine dealing with a guy like this
Yeah, I mean,
and being nice to
yeah,
him?
no, you gain control of the situation. That's how I operate. Like, you know, like you said, you're absolutely right. He's owning he's calling the shots right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're going through a really rough time.
Oh, can you pause it for a second?
Yeah, hold on. Go ahead.
That was such a textbook de-escalation tactic.
Yeah. Well, I'm told this area is very rich, and these guys are very undertrained, and that's just it's Fairfax, Virginia.
It's just sad. Yeah, it's sad to hear that. Oh, well, like, oh my God, you know, and because there's moments where de-escalation is appropriate, and there's times where it's like, you know, you're only using it because you haven't already gained control of that.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what to do. So it's getting ready. Business should be getting ready to pick up.
Since 2014, I'm concerned about you people. Because you lie, because you play games. That's how I'm going deeper. Okay. Yeah.
So there's backup
these
coming.
Are my partners here. They're coming up. I don't want
Get
you
ready.
to get rattled, but it's because you're reaching for your weapon. No, I'm not being sir. Hey, I watched you do it. I don't give a damn fuck. It brings as many people as you can.
All right. Gun hand on the car.
Oh my God.
I am listening to you. I have 4 children.
As soon as the guy comes up and goes in the passenger side is when things are going to. Don't reach for your gun. Here we go. Get ready.
Hey, so listen, American.
Throws the driver's license down to kind of distract him. Watch this.
Where's he going?
He's leaving. All right, watch this. So he gets the 2 guys on that side. That guy on the right kills him. But watch. When you talk about action versus reaction, this kind of reminds me of what happened. You know, watch this. Watch how the gun's not loaded. Watch how fast this happens. Racked, shoot.
Oh my God!
And he fucking corrects the malfunction and starts to correct the malfunction, dude. There's a gun. That is out, racked, and watch this. Boom. Boom. So that kind of where I went with that was the reason I wanted to show that was that kind of goes along with. Let me get rid of that. Stop screen.
Oh, I was gonna see that. That
goes with. I posted it on my page. So that goes with action versus reaction. Just think. Now yours was completely dark. Okay.
Yeah.
There's daylight and windows down. That was complete complacency, and that was my point of traffic guys or whoever just lollygagging up in the car. You have an Afghan adult male.
Hostile on a traffic stop.
Armed with a gun belt.
Yeah.
And
not
complying.
Not non-compliant and not cooperative to commands.
Not cooperative. And you got a guy on his radio with his gun hand. You have a guy leaning against the car.
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
Just take it this further. That guy, and what that guy, he could have killed that cop at any time. And this is where my mind goes. That one, somebody made the point: was he headed to a mass casualty shooting? Like this guy's got a gun belt on. He's headed somewhere.
And I think it had one moment where it circled that he had mags, right?
Yes, yeah. So he's got a full gun belt on with some extra mags.
Yeah.
What did he do? He set up a fucking camera. But not your typical like, hey dog, I'm recording you too. He waited halfway through the stop. He sets the camera up, then waits for 2 more cops to come before he fires the rounds. Like almost like he knew things were getting ready to go down. He's like, fuck it, let me get as many people here as possible.
Right.
So complacency, not paying attention. I mean, that one is just we could.
I mean, there was so much time for him to because of he missed the marks so many times. In the first couple minutes, it's like he had so many extra opportunities that he could have started at that point and then gone, defensive with it and maybe just positioned himself at his vehicle and then wait for his backup units.
I'm all about the Second Amendment. Like, you can carry a gun. I have no problem you carrying a gun, but that guy should set off every flag in your brain.
Yeah.
Every signal in your heart your neck hair should be standing up with that guy.
Yeah.
I would go back to my car and get a rifle and be like, yo, there's this maniac in the car with a gun and he's not listening to anything.
Yeah. I just don't understand why people, or not people, but why there's officers out there that it's almost like they don't want to inconvenience these civilians that are carrying firearms. It's like, okay, you're willing to compromise your safety to just not inconvenience them. Like, our job's full of inconveniences. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get comfortable, talking to people a certain way and having them follow your commands, and they're going to want to bitch, moan, and complain about it, and they're not going to like it. But guess what? At the end of the day, you do it to put yourself in a safer position.
And I wanted to show that one because it coincides almost with yours. But you had zero visibility,
right,
and zero confrontation or any interaction with the driver,
and knowledge that there was a gun.
And then here you have knowledge of a gun, complete daylight, and a hostile subject, and he managed to get off. He managed to draw, load, fire, and start to correct a malfunction before the first round hit him. So when you get into you get that, and where I was going with that is when people say, "Oh, you're rolling the windows down and all that at nighttime," that's exactly why.
Yeah,
at night you can't see it coming, and in the daytime, even when they paint the picture for you that it's coming by telling you it's coming and then start the process, that dude loaded and got 4 rounds off, hit 2 officers before the first round came back at him.
Yeah. And that's what we're up against.
Yep.
And it's not going to always be like that. Look at me. I happened to me with only myself there. Yep. You got to start, I'm big on the what if game, right? Like, start to those officers, especially the new ones out there that are like, how am I going to learn from, because a lot of what we do is on the job training. We kind of learn as we go type stuff. But in situations like these are situations where you need to be paying attention and going, okay, what can I take away from this? And how can I use it to operate in a safer, or in a more safe situation, for not just for yourself, but for the officers around. You owe it to not just yourself, but the officers that you work around as well. Because nobody wants a backup unit or a backup that's just like you have to babysit. I mean, right? They like, what that's all about. Like, well, I won't even get into that, but
I'm going to ask you this, and we haven't talked about this ahead of time. How do you feel about TikTok cops? After everything we see and what you've been through, what do you think about cops who make videos all day during shift and make that their identity? What honest opinion?
My honest opinion is that this is not, you're in the wrong profession if you're going to be recording yourself just to try to appear a certain way to a certain population out there. Because whatever you see on TikTok and the glamour of all of however they make it look, it's like, one, why aren't you doing something that's going to, improve your ability to operate as a police officer? Because right now you're wasting time, and you're literally, as you're engaging in that, there's a risk there for you because you're so focused on this phone. I mean, and people might argue like, oh, that's, like that would ever happen. Come on now. While you're on your phone recording, it's just a matter of time. One of these TikTok cops, while they're recording on their TikTok, someone's going to ambush them. It's just a matter of time. And I think it's disgusting, is what I think, because it doesn't accurately, depict what our job is.
So having no knowledge of a person, and this is where I'm going with this, is because some people say I'm a bully for picking on these guys, and I don't know Dominic Izzo picks on them. When you see a TikTok cop, do you think they know how to do anything tactical?
No, absolutely
yes or no
not.
question. Okay, when you see a TikTok cop, do you think they're mentally prepared for the job that day?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
So when I say,
go ahead.
No,
When I see a TikTok cop, I have to evaluate them as a real police officer and go, is this a fake cop or is this a real cop? Like, that's what I do. Is this easy to fool the regular, person that's on TikTok? Or is this actually a police officer who's wasting time and all the other stuff that I already just said, That's what I learned. I have no confidence in that police officer. None.
And that,
Sorry.
and I want that to get out there because people think that Izzo and I pick on people, and it's just like a DUI. When you smell the alcohol and you see them staggering, they're drunk. When you see a TikTok cop not taking the job serious, recording in their car, not going to the range, not doing anything, and they may do all that stuff on their own, but the initial perception of somebody absolutely. I look at them and go, stay home. Yeah. Go find another fucking job. Go to Hollywood. Stay home. We don't want you. No. And I get the followers, people that follow me support me, but I still get hell. That is the reality of it. There is no way a TikTok cop recording every day and doing all this is ready to get shot in the neck and the chest and run back to their car and have a plan. You've gone over that in your head. Your reality is that day is going to come. So I'm going to be as prepared for that day as I can. And no matter what anybody critiques about you, the fact that you had the wherewithal and the agility after being shot to get to the back of your car, get away from the threat, and reassess. I don't care what anybody says. They can Monday morning court. That was a killer instinct. That was a warrior mentality to survive, and that's what I saw when you sent me the video. And no TikTok cop is preparing for that. They're not mentally stable and they're not mentally ready to get shot. And it's frustrating to me that the agencies are not stepping in and doing something about it. That's who I blame. I always blame admin, but that's the real problem. They're not getting bullied enough, or the agencies are not taking it serious enough to say, hey, bro, we didn't hire you to dance around your car. We didn't hire you to be you want to be a recruiter, join the recruiting team, and we'll do it as an agency. Nobody asked you to sit in your car and live stream, putting your fucking makeup on and your lip gloss and your fingernails this long and your lashes.
And how many times are they doing that recording? It's not just the first take. It's probably taking several minutes to redo it.
I always put my disclaimer out there. I made TikToks. In 2020, went through a shitty situation for about 3-4 months. I made TikToks, and I can tell you, for those 3 or 4 months, my brain wasn't there. I was going through it, and my brain wasn't there, and I snapped out of it, and I turned it around. That's why I critique it so hard, because I know at the time that I was doing that, I wasn't ready for that gunfight.
Well, I'll just tell you right now, I've never downloaded TikTok, nor will I ever download TikTok. The only reason I'm aware of TikTok is because of the other social media out there, and so. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. It's that is time that they could be using towards something much more beneficial, and the time that they're doing that on TikTok is nothing about that is going to allow them to operate in a more safe method, or improve their ability to handle a situation. And that's what they should be doing.
There are some incidents that humanize the badge, and I think there's that one guy that he went on stage and was singing like a heavy metal at a detail. Really cool. Dude pops in the skate park and jumps on a skateboard. You jump out and play football or basketball. That's all stuff.
Momentary stuff.
The humanizing the badge. You want to humanize a badge? Go solve a fucking burglary. You want to humanize a badge? Right. Catch a fucking bad guy. You want to humanize the badge? Get the guy with the warrant off the street. Get the guy with the dope off the street. Get the guy that's breaking into granny's shed and stealing her shit. That's humanizing the badge. When you go, hey, by the way, the fucking dude that's a piece of shit that broke in your house or your car, we just arrested him. Like, that's humanizing the badge. Yeah. So that bullshit about putting lip gloss on and males are just as bad. Hulk Rill is a piece of shit.
I'm super proactive, and you can't be a proactive cop when you're a TikTok cop. That's the two they don't go together. And
some agencies just quite blatantly support it. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I wouldn't want any TikTok cop, like I was saying before. It's like the ones that you find out someone who your backup unit is or who your secondary is. You're like, nah, I'll advise if I need a secondary. Like Whatever, dude.
And how shitty is that at your job, at that job,
it blows my mind.
In your mind, go, this motherfucker coming is dancing around at TikTok, or it's a female that doesn't train, or it's a male that's 300 fucking pounds. Like
the fact that you're actually having to go, wait, if they come here, is that going to be better for me or worse for me? And then you can come to the conclusion that if they're there, it's now less safe than it was if they were not there. That is absolutely ridiculous.
I worked with some really great dudes, and we had a shift, and we had like POW magnets we put on all the cars. It was our little like click.
Yeah.
Everybody knew. And I would pull up, or I would look if I'm on a call and I couldn't see who it was, and I'd like, all right, I see the POW magnet, I'm good. Like one of these guys coming is one of my boys. So
yeah,
it was, and we made a pact to each other, like, hey man, I don't care what I'm on. If I hear that tone in your voice change, or I hear that traffic stop, you know it. And that's another thing TikTok cops will never get. You should be able to read the voice inflection in your zone partner's voice because you work with them so much.
Yep.
You can tell based on the way they're on the radio that something is off.
Yeah.
And you can hear it and you're like, damn, I heard him call that traffic stop in. He was a little excited, or I heard him key up and you know, and you can hear
delay or something like that.
That's the shit I concentrated on when I was working, was
hell yeah.
My zone partner just keyed up. He doesn't sound like the normal voice.
Right. He can say something that's totally normal, right? Like the same words that he would, but he says it differently, or there's the amount of time before or after he keys up and when he says it is different. Like I would pick up on those things too. You're exactly right. And that's huge because it shows how dialed in you can actually get if you really are proactive and dive in. You know what I mean? Like if you need something to do, these are the things that you can do, is improve on these things, not get on TikTok, you know?
Learn the voice. And I was a patrol sergeant after that, and I had the same thing. I listened to everybody's voice, and in my head I went, that didn't sound. Let me just start heading that way. Because sometimes there's that moment of like, even yourself, you're like, you're saying it and you don't realize you're doing it, but you're in that like, I'm still analyzing it. This isn't normal. Yeah. This isn't the same. I don't really need another unit yet, or I'm not sure I got. I don't want to call, but
get one rolling. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
There isn't, but as a good zone partner or partner, whatever you guys
call it, you should key up on that and start that way.
Or you should be able to use, instead of blaring TikTok and doing 73 takes on your lip gloss review, learn what that voice sounds like and go.
So I wanted to add one thing. I forgot to mention this in the shooting situation. Shout out to Officer Harold Cho. I didn't ask him if I could say that, but he'll be cool with it. Harold Cho, he's my best friend. I won't say where he's at right now, just out of respect for his privacy. But he got to me in less than 2 minutes, I believe. And
that's whose car you were sitting in when you called your wife?
Correct. Yeah. So he took all the stuff on his passenger side, tossed it out. I was like walking over there, hand on my neck. Hold on, I got to get my phone. He goes, I got your wife's number, man. Get in the fucking car. So I was like, okay. So go over there and he called her. So anytime I mention this situation, because I don't do it to get attention or recognition or anything like that. And I don't like taking any credit, because the credit all goes to one Officer Cho. You know, he had the presence of mind to hear what was going on, know, just like that tone of the voice, like he heard that and he booked it there from the PD, got there and handled the situation perfectly. Now, granted, this is another thing that officers should do. Cho and I actually talked about 3 weeks prior to this in briefing. For whatever reason, we decided we were going to discuss in a traumatic situation, if a situation arises that calls for this, which hospital do you want to go, right? We had talked about it, and he knew. So right when I got in the car, he looked over at me, and he's like, JPS? I'm like, JPS, get it. And that's
he drove you there?
Yeah. We got there, and like, go ahead.
That's good. I mean, that's because we don't have that. We have like one option here. We're small. We're not like Dallas. So before I want to end on a good note, I want to go one more bad note before we end on that. What was the reason you were shot? What was the situation with the suspect?
Suspect had 2 active warrants for POCS, possession of controlled substance. They were felony warrants, so he didn't want to go back to jail.
Okay, so he has felony warrants and
he had meth in the car. He was a convicted felon already. He wasn't supposed to be in possession of the firearm. The gun was stolen. I mean, like the list goes on.
What was the race and age?
All 2 white males. Ages were at the time upper 30s, and 1 white female, same age.
And how long after the shooting did he get caught?
Approximately, I want to say, let's see, it was 4. I want to say probably about 10 hours.
And you still have not gone to trial on it?
No, we did go to trial.
On yours? Okay. And what was
Actually,
it?
so we went to trial. I was a witness for the charge, or the charge that he went on, which was capital murder. Because we can, if you want to, we can. Otherwise, I'll just mention this real quick. After he drove away, vehicle ended up catching fire. They fled on foot. He ended up kidnapping a female and forced her to drive her own vehicle in a certain direction. While driving, she deviated and crashed into a different police department's back gate, tried to run for it, and when she opened the door, he shot and killed her twice, killed her, pushed her out, with his foot.
Really nice guy. So you went to trial on that part.
The capital murder, and he got sentenced to death. No, to death. Yep. Yeah.
Holy
he got the death penalty. He's on death row right now.
Beautiful. We're not going to mention his name. Fuck him. And,
No.
all right, we'll get back to the good stuff. So
Yeah.
your buddy drives you to the hospital, and we're right at an hour and 10 minutes. You go ahead and you got.
Yeah, I'll just wrap it up for you.
You go ahead. Yep.
I give the credit to the officers out there that stayed out there, looked for the subject or the suspect, or all 3 of them. When in this type of situation, I mean, if you face that guy or you come across that guy, what's going to happen, right? So credit goes to all of them. I give credit where credit's due. I was there for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, where I got shot. That's not something to brag about. I don't know why. Well, that's another thing, but it's not like a cool thing, So the credit goes to, and that's what I was saying. I just like to mention specifically Harold Cho, because I don't like to talk about this situation without including him. It's just one of the things that I'm a little guy. He's my best friend, and it's just kind of something I committed to a long time ago. And so anything that came out of the shooting or whatever, I'd always share with him, share the recognition, share the credit, whatever, because he deserves it. He was there, and he got to work and did the right thing. And
the worst day of your life, and he's standing there.
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't change anything else about that. I'm glad that it was him, and he knew exactly what to do. And I'm just grateful that it was that we had that conversation beforehand, and that he's a high speed dude. So love him to death.
Well, Justin, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I think you are. I think you're a jam up dude. I think your tactics were good. I think your mindset was good. Your physical fitness was good, and you survived the worst day of your life, and you're here to tell the story. And I think it's admirable that you come on and you're willing to share this story so that somebody can get some benefit out of this. Because, like I said, this one, I never heard of it. Most people probably hadn't, but this is one of the wildest ones. To your when I saw those, like I said, when I saw those bullet holes, I was like, bro, how's this guy even texting me? Like, what?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to ruin the surprise. So we had never talked about, I never asked you any questions about how you were shot. I wanted to be like surprised about how it happened. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being an officer. And I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me. And it's been a pleasure. So until next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.